Hey, what's up? How is everybody? Wonderful. Is it gonna distract you if I read notes from my phone? My remarkable's finicky. And when I sweat, it doesn't want to like scroll. Because sometimes I get nervous and then I'll be stuck and I want to know what to say. So, all right, everybody take out a pencil and write down this sentence. I'm right. I'm here. Yeah. I was prepared to go. All right, take out a pencil, write down this sentence. I will be creating more business builders if fill in the blank. I will be creating more business builders if fill in the blank. Then it looks down, I said, you're done. Okay, so there's a variety of ways that you could have answered that question. You could have said, if my upline would do more three-way calls with me, if my family or my husband was more supportive, if there weren't so many people in my area already doing what I'm doing, if people didn't dislike network marketing so much. No shame on any of you if that was the answer that you wrote down or a variation of those sentences. But bonus points for anyone whose answer started with I. Oh, you guys win. Okay, well, go do whatever you wrote down. Bye. I'm not even right. Listen, just FYI, that's not normal. Normally, if I'm training a room full this big, most of them do not start with I. So kudos to whatever personal development you've done working. So, somebody read me yours. Who will do? Read me yours, Sarah. If I were more active in my business, Nancy. That is weird. Too bad you don't have enough line to tell me to do that. Okay, Shelley. Bolder, Angela.
I was creating more goals under goals.
Oh, I would be creating more of this board. Okay.
If I felt like a person that was worth following.
Oh. I don't want to do all that. I'm gonna get a hot seat coaching on that one.
No, we don't.
Wait till the fire gets. Wait till the fire gets. Emily, right? If I could more people, I think it's just if you want to inspire them. You want to tell you how to inspire them, it's actually okay. My music is so weird. I would be creating more business builders if I were talking about the business more. That was you, raise your hand. Okay. If I were telling every single new product user about the opportunity. Y'all all telling your product users about the opportunity. You're breastfeeding and you don't love Jesus. He's lying, you're breastfeeding and you don't love Jesus. And then he walks off and I'm like, what's my breast? If I weren't afraid to follow up with people after I initially brought up the business. This one. If I were willing to handle people's objections because I didn't feel personally threatened by them. Gotta get it together. All right, so we're gonna kick off this topic of getting people open to becoming business builders with one key factor of your success in this area. Ownership. Nothing else I will say in the next 30 minutes will land if you do not take full and complete ownership of where you are, how you got here, and for the responsibility to change it. There's a quote by an unknown author, which I think is the most ridiculous thing. How do we know it's a quote if it's an unknown author? Why can't I just make it my quote? I plagiarize Noble? I mean, I don't understand, but the quote is, success is not what you achieve, it's what you become by taking full responsibility for your life and your actions. So I want to tell you a story. So there's a girl who I know has been getting results left and right. She's onboarding new business builders, sweeping contests, mentoring leaders, training teams, hosting events, investing in courses. She's really getting the job done. Here's what you would not know about this girl. In the last 6 months, one of her children has moved away from home. Another of her children has had massive front teeth, permanent damage and trauma. This girl's bathroom had a leak under the shower and the entire master bathroom had to be gutted and redone. This girl has watched one of her children battle depression and massive anxiety to the point of being medicated. This girl's roof fell in weeks before hosting a giant event at her home. During this event, with the CEO in attendance, this girl battled nasty food poisoning for the duration of the event and had to share a bed. This girl is another 6 months away from another child leaving home. This girl has been on the receiving end of a telephone call with her husband crying and saying, "I'm so sorry, babe, but I just got fired." From a 6-figure executive leadership position 2 months before Christmas. You probably wouldn't know that that's me. Currently existing in the hardest personal time of my life. But I pray that you wouldn't know that that's me, because that's the first point of this training. To create business builders, it is not primarily in what you must go do. It is in whom you must become. That's right. So I don't tell you these things so that you think I'm awesome, because I promise I'm not. I do not have my life together or have it more figured out than anyone else here today. I still cry, not often. I actually have tried for the last few months. I get in the shower, I thought you were supposed to do it in the shower, and so I tried to do it in the shower, and then I told Brie, it didn't work. Didn't work. Apparently you had to hold a microphone, have shaking knees, and stand in front of a bunch of people, and then it will work. I still get very down on myself, but the work that I've done over the years has allowed me to continue to show up and walk in the energy of who I know I will become. Double diamond, $2 million a year, Christina, not in the energy of what my current circumstances dictate. And I believe that that's possible for every single one of you. I believe you are absolutely capable of showing up as a girl who has achieved the 5-year goal that you wrote down yesterday. And when you believe that you will, it will have a massive impact on the way that you show up in your business, especially in the way of sharing the opportunity. So guess what? The work of creating business builders, several of my new ones are in this room, which is so fun. They probably have no idea that my wife is actually a dumpster fire when I onboarded them, so that worked out. Congratulations, you're already signed up. Is that what happened? Okay. All right, the work of creating business builders is going to feel so much easier when you show up for that job in the energy of who you're going to be in 5 years. But you have to show up in that energy first. We often think that we need the results first. Let me ask you this, what comes first? A decision or results? A decision. Once the decision is made, what comes first? Belief and hope or results? Belief and hope, exactly. Oh, this was me. Many of you do not have the results of creating business builders yet because you don't believe you can or should, or you know that you never will. You desire them, but you are not determined to create them. People who simply desire change show up to play the lottery. Low risk, low reward. People who determine to change show up to work. Low risk, high reward. There is a difference in desire and determination. So before we go any further, let's get honest with ourselves. Have we actually been spending the last weeks or months or years just wishing it would get easier to create business builders? Or have we spent the last weeks and months and years determined to just get better at creating them? There is a difference in that energy, and the way you show up will depend on it. To become someone who creates business builders, you got to develop these traits. And I have it in a PDF. Forgot to give it to Terry to drop, so it's coming. Top leaders. Here's how top leaders think and behave. We're gonna have top leaders and we're gonna have struggling leaders. This is so gross. Just stay wet on your face for a minute. I'm just shaking stuff. Okay. Top leaders have a proactive mindset. They take initiative and act without needing external prompts. They look for ways to improve and contribute consistently. They have a proactive mindset. Number two, they're growth oriented. And listen, I know you guys wish I would shut up and just tell you what to go do. I know that because I was you. I was you. And if I had not ever developed all of this, I wouldn't have made it. Growth oriented. They view challenges as an opportunity to grow. They do not personalize challenges. Of course, it's hard. They learn to embrace feedback, and they don't shy away from new skills or experiences. They have self-responsibility. High performers take ownership of their actions and their results or lack thereof. They do not blame circumstances or others for their setbacks. They are solution-focused. They focus on finding solutions rather than dwelling on problems. It's very obvious I have problems. I just talk about them less, focus on them less, and expect less people to help me carry them. I try to find solutions. They maintain a constructive and forward-thinking mindset. They're optimistic and resilient. This means they maintain a positive attitude and outlook even in tough times. Resilience is key. They see setbacks as temporary and keep pushing forward. I think this is a nice time to say, the reason I can see temporary sacrifices as temporary is because I have hope. I have hope. And so if you're in the room and you don't have hope, and you feel like it's all on you, just know it was not until I surrendered my life and my business to Christ that I truly knew what it was like to have hope. And that's where the resilience comes from. They have high standards and self-discipline. They hold themselves to high standards and exhibit self-discipline in routines, not just for a moment. They prioritize tasks that align with their goals, and they say no to ones that do not. Okay, last, they're collaborative. They recognize the value of teamwork and often seek to uplift others, not be threatened by their success. They share credit and encourage collaboration amongst their peers. Okay. Struggling leaders, or those who are working to become top leaders, they have a reactive mindset. They tend to wait for instruction or react only when required, rather than taking initiative. They are comfort seeking. They're often resistant to change, and they may avoid challenges and prioritize comfort over growth, sticking to familiar routines and people. They externalize blame. They blame external factors or other people for their setbacks, avoiding accountability for their own outcomes. They're problem focused, they dwell on obstacles and focus on what's wrong rather than exploring potential solutions. Everything is figure outable, and when you tell your brain that, it naturally starts to look for solutions. They have a negative or a defeatist outlook. They can be easily discouraged by challenges and may view setbacks as failures rather than learning opportunity. This is a big one. They're inconsistent performers. They lack follow through on commitments or display variable levels of effort. They work at the end of the month, which impacts relatability, reliability, and credibility. They have lower standards and motivation. They lack self-discipline, they lack high standards, they focus on only immediate reward rather than long-term growth. You want some good news? The good news is you can start behaving like a top leader before the results show up. It's an attitude. It's an energy. And if you don't, the results will never arrive. Okay, so now let's dig into some secrets of creating business builders, and by secrets, I mean the things that we actually have to do to make it happen. Not secrets. It's not magic. It is mindset, action, and maybe getting out of your comfort zone and finding it. The point here is that our mindset matters, and now that we've covered who we have to show up as in order to even consider onboarding someone, let's be clear on what must be essential in our mindset. Number one, you have to have belief in the opportunity. Your conviction, your posture, your boldness, your tone, your attitude, it's all going to be dependent on whether or not you actually feel convicted that someone could and should do this. If you think that they might to, ought to, they're not gonna. You gotta believe without a shadow of a doubt you're doing it. Come hell or high water, I'm doing it. Come with me, I don't really care, I'm going. If you don't feel that way, it will show up in the maybes, might shoulds, could be's. And people that you want to attract, if you want to up level the people you're attracting, they're not going to follow maybes. They're not going to follow maybes. Oh man, screen turned off. Gracious alive. All right, you got to know what we have to do. Number two, the other thing you have to capitalize in your mindset is focus and prioritization. Get clear on what actually moves the needle. And then you have to prioritize that. You cannot build this business reactively. What's not going to move the needle is letting others impede on your schedule, on your goals, on your boundaries. Get clear and get focused. And then have a willingness to step out of your comfort zone. Yes, I'm talking to you who still have not gotten on the phone with people to cast vision about the business. Stop telling yourself, they don't want to talk on the phone. This generation doesn't like to get on the phone. Bull, they do if they want to make $20,000 a month. Mindset's like setting your GPS. Without it, you're just wandering around, hoping to stumble upon success. So let's get clear on where we're going. All right, you also have to have belief in the opportunity. So do you really believe in this opportunity? Do you really believe that it will transform your life or that it could transform others? I think if we have belief that transformation is possible, that is the fuel behind the conversation. So think about it. What would an extra $1,000 a month mean for someone? Or $5,000 a month? I don't know about you, but I can think of a few people who would like to get groceries without a coupon. Or would love to finally upgrade that 10-year-old minivan that they're driving. Or maybe cash flow in Christmas for once, so that instead of feeling that dread of knowing they overspent while their kids are unwrapping, and that they're going to pay the price for months to come, they can feel joy and peace and excitement about what they were able to give their family. What people need is hope that change is possible and an opportunity. And you are being stingy if you're not getting it. Yes. If you're not excited about what this can do for people, how are they supposed to be excited? Consider yourself a skydive instructor. Would you willingly follow a skydive instructor who seemed unsure of where they're headed? Didn't seem super confident or even excited to jump out of the airplane. You wouldn't. In the same way, you cannot expect people to buy into your vision for their future if your excitement is equivalent to a wet noodle. What you're asking them to do feels as scary as you jumping out of the airplane. You're asking them to risk reputation. You're asking them to risk rejection. You're asking them to risk ridicule. All those things they're going to endure. And if you tell them they're not, they know you're lying. They just have to know, will it be worth it? You got to understand people's needs and desires. Why do people want to join us? Because let's be honest, they're not dying to do Plexus. Can't wait to market the pink drink. It's because they have needs and they have specific wants like financial freedom. That is what this business can offer people. And if you're short selling that, $200 a month, cover the cost of your products, you're gonna get short-sighted people.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they can't start there, it means that they can't stay there. They need a community, you guys. Listen, it's tough out there in the streets. People don't have this. If you're not marketing your community, your team, I don't care if your team is 2 people. Some folks ain't got 2 people. I market the heck out of this. They don't know this ain't yours. This is yours. We share ownership here. This is my team. Here's what it means. People want personal growth, believe it or not. It's weird, isn't it? You would be surprised how many people want to be better versions of themselves, and they just need a guide. They don't need you to come be their hero. They need you to come be their guide. So when you're talking to people, remember, this isn't about selling them the idea of a Plexus business. It's about understanding what they want and showing them how this could be an answer for that. They can't build a business for you and what you want for yourself. This has to be a solution to what they want, what they need. Step number 1 in creating business builders. It's gonna be a shocker, I know. Get ready. Tell every single person about business. Every single one of them. Even the ones who don't want it, don't need it, already rich, too poor, they're old, they're not old enough. We're making up stories and robbing people because of our own insecurity. You've made up some reason why in your brain that somebody would or would not do this, and you make decisions for people that are not your right to make. You guys, inviting someone every time to look at the opportunity, it's super simple. If they're a product user, it simply looks like saying, hey, I'm so excited that your products are on the way. I know if you're anything like me, tons of people you know probably struggle with some of the same things you do. So I'm just curious if you've given any thought to taking advantage of the referral program that comes here. And then stop talking. Invite them to share all the reasons why they would never. This is when I settle in. I'm telling you. Come on. Stop talking. Let them tell you their thoughts. Resist the urge to shrink back. Just listen. Y'all, it is normal that people are going to have limiting beliefs around doing this. It would be weird if they didn't. Objections are just hidden little questions or micro fears that they don't know how to articulate. That's all an objection is. People need help. They need help to see what's possible. So you cannot run away from them. You're the guide, remember? If we're out here on a hike and our guide runs away from a bear, it's like, well, that's unfortunate. That bear's still here. And I'm still on his side. I just need a guide. We're not attempting to convince people. We're simply looking to offer a different perspective to what they think could hold them back. You're not responsible for their decision, but you are responsible for helping them see a full picture. And remember, if they are objecting, it means that they're interested enough to talk. If they are objecting, it means that they are interested enough to talk. Because here's what it looks like if they're not interested. Hey, Christina, I know you're top level leader in Plexus, but just know there's this real breaking opportunity. You know, you can crush it over here. I'm not interested. Please do not contact me again. I ain't got no objection. I'm not interested. Very clear. If they're not saying that, I would never, don't ask me again. They're open. They need help to see why what they're thinking is holding them back, maybe wouldn't have to be true for long. Okay, so here's what's important. Storytelling is very important when it comes to handling objection. This is why you've got to be listening to stories yourself. Diamond dots, biplexes, training videos. I hope you've asked people stories here. What almost held you back from building this business? And I hope you listen. So that the next time somebody tells you an objection, like I could never do that because my husband's mom, one time she did a business like that and it was terrible and it did not go well. And you can say, oh my gosh, you remind me so much of my friend Amanda. You won't believe how similar y'all stories are. Let me tell you how she overcame that. Now I'm just storytelling and relating. I'm a guide. You can use the stories that you learn as resources to help offer perspective and eventually overcome objection. It's also a great reason to follow up with somebody, something like this. Hey, Sally, I remember when we were talking about the business opportunity with Plexus and all the reasons it would be a blessing for your family. Cash flow vacations, creating more margin in your grocery budget, putting your daughter in ballet. But I also remember you thinking that perhaps you wouldn't have the time to put into building it. I didn't know best to share with you how I fit it all in, and you were still thinking about it, but today I came across this business webinar that my friend Jackie did. She's a busy mama of 2 active girls and a full-time school teacher married to a PA who's building a very successful business here. And her residual income is allowing her to not have to drop balls on all of her other responsibilities. She's stewarding it all so well. I thought you might want to watch it too. Here's the link, would you check it out? Now all of a sudden I'm not begging, I'm not convincing, I'm not nagging. I'm saying, hey, I know we talked before. Here's another layer of why I think you could do this. Would you check it out? This allows me to follow up with new information, new energy, new excitement. You guys, if all you're doing is popping back in and hoping people have suddenly increased in courage and initiative and belief, and they're ready to respond and say, yeah, I'm ready to do this, you're delusional. They're still sitting with the same fear they had before, so you have to show up with new information, new excitement, a new layer of exposure. Hey, are you ready to do this with me? Is a message that will never work. Okay, so I thought I would share with you some of what I've done that have allowed me to onboard new business owners consistently through the years. This is coming in a PDF. Number 1, initial connection and follow-up within 24 hours of joining. Very simple. This is where you share with every person, every time. How many of you share with 100% of your product users? Okay, a tenth of us. All right, next year you only have about 50% of us. That's it. If you just change that one thing, why not? You don't actually want to be invited? You just kidding? That's like saying, I'm gonna have a bikini body. I am going to have a bikini body. I am going to do that. Oh, but go into the gym? I don't think that's gonna work. I will go into the gym on the 15th of every month. I will do that. You don't actually want no bikini body. You gotta do what you say. Your want has to align with your will. What will you do? If you will not do it, then we just go home. You gotta change some things. Close my notes, sorry. Baffles me. Don't baffle me. Share the opportunity. Address questions, provide additional information. I usually do that day 2 before, regardless of their answer. Yeah, I might be open to other products. P.S. That's an objection. Don't let somebody stay there. I would tell you how to handle it. There are tons of training resources in my YouTube where it tells you that. Don't let them stay there. You have to handle the objection and then check for overcoming. But regardless of their answer to that question about the business, I'm following up in 2 to 4 days with more business. Hey, your products are right. Yeah, I'm gonna handle the product part. And then I'm gonna say, came across this person, she reminded me of you. She's a young mom expecting her second baby. She's building a great business. I know you're not open right now, it's totally fine, but I thought this would inspire you. Preliminary thoughts. All this is coming. I invite them to some sort of exposure of an event in the first couple of weeks. business webinar that I'm gonna host, another business, anything. If you're not hosting events, host events. We've been doing it since we were children. Host events. Remember when I talked about top leaders take initiative, struggling leaders wait for instruction? There are tons of, ask ChatGPT, can you give me a Facebook Messenger business event that I can host myself? It will. Stop waiting for instruction. Create a resource so that you can say, hey, I have a cool opportunity, come check it out. Check in for thoughts and interest level. Every time they have a positive result on the product, you're saying, of course you slept through the night, Terry. I told you that was gonna happen. Girl, do you know how many people in your life made it through the night? I know you didn't want a business, that's totally fine. But have you thought about just being a blessing for them and telling them what's possible? Dude, I could totally log in, create you a share cart with your exact products. Who do you want to send that to? Weekly follow-up touch points. Here's where some of you are dropping the ball. You'll bring up the business the first time. You will try the second time, and you will sweat the third time, and then you stop. Kristen, how long have we talked to her? 4 years. She's going senior silver and gold this month. We've been talking business 4 years. 4 years. My new fast start goal last month, 6 years. You know how many times you gotta follow up with somebody in 6 years? She made me work for that. Yeah, Lindy, how many years? 5 years. And it's been on the products the whole time. Oh, some of you are already going, there's no way I would do that. I'm not willing to do that. Why not? They'll both be jewels on my team. Why not? You gotta be willing to follow up the business exposure. And listen, that continues until they die or they unplug. That's it. That's it. If I'm leading with the business and there's so much hesitancy there, then I'll encourage a product experience, obviously. If you talk to somebody business primarily, it's okay to default to products. Just don't leave them there. Then I'll tell you how to do all this in the video. Anytime there is anything new, cash, Christmas cash, everybody gets that. Everybody. These 4 girls that I've been talking to since I started 9 years, they got that Christmas cash message. They got it. They got a success story too. And what I'll say, hey, I know it's been 9 years we've been talking business, you're not interested, but here's why I believe that you're probably moving now, because Katie, my new girl Katie, 6.5 years, like you gotta be by a few years, but she was finally ready. I have a feeling you are too. Let's talk. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. If it don't, it's still different. Do it not. But that's how I believe. So I mean, that's literally how I will show up. I just assume that they'll be ready when the time's right. But I need to be the one whose faith comes to mind when it is. All right, I think I'm out of time. Blah, 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 blah. Re-invite them every 3 to 6 months, take another look. Okay, here's your tips for consistent follow-up. All right, ready? Use the tracking system. I wish I could say I have them. I'm working on it. My tracking system is sort my 5,000 friend list by A to Z. It's terrible. I'm getting there though. But I suggest you get a tracking system. I also need to get a tax preparation system because I have to carve out a whole day in January. And if I would just keep track of it, what's my problem? I'm not uncomfortable enough to change, that's my problem with tax. That's fine. But if I wasn't making a bunch of money, I'd be changing this, so change this. Keep your taxes, I can make that happen. All right, stay positive and persistent. Not everyone will be ready right away. Consistent, friendly follow-up. Show your dedication without coming across as pushy. Nobody has ever gotten annoyed by somebody calling out their potential. Ever. But let them think you need them to do something for you. They can smell you a mile away. I don't need 9-year-old follow-up girls to come build this for me. I'm over here seeing how much money Katie is making in 1 month's time, and I'm going, you can do that too. Not for me, for you, I make plenty of money. Right? I mean, I'm gonna make $2 million a year in the next couple of years. But so I do need them to come build, I mean, I want them to build with me, but I don't need them to do it. If it's not them, then someone else, that's fine. Stay available and encourage questions. Be open to having the uncomfortable conversation. Quit getting so squeamish about their fears. What's the worst that's gonna happen? They ain't gonna do it, they're already not. So try something else. All right, I'm supposed to recap everything, I'm not doing that. All right, so as we close this up, here you have to share with you. Every conversation, every follow-up, every time you reach out, you're planting a seed that could change someone's life. Sow none, reap none. Sure, some people will take time, some might hesitate, some might say no, that's part of the process and part of your job. Stay the course, keep the door open, follow up with confidence of someone who knows exactly what they're offering. Think of it this way, you're building something bigger than just a business, you're creating a movement that helps people find financial freedom, personal growth, purpose, and it all starts with you. So your willingness to do these things, it speaks to your belief in business. So, that's all.